Are we ready?
Yep.
All right. So this is the Fast Forward Charter High School Board of Trustees meeting. This is October 24th, 2024, just after 4 o'clock. I'm Rich West, board president. I'm going to invite those who are sitting around the table here, and then we'll go to those who are joining us remotely. Just give us your name and your role. So let's.
Okay, I'm Jill Lowe, principal.
Alex Garrett, vice principal.
Hannah Zollinger, parent.
Let's go to Ryan.
Ryan Marchant, business manager.
Lynn.
Lynn Hobbs, board on the board.
Teresa.
Teresa Olson, board member.
Anyone else? I don't see anyone else. But welcome to all of you. We are officially convened as a board, and let's start with item number 1 on the agenda. You've all received the agenda, at least it's been sent to all of you, so I'm assuming that you've all received it. Item number 1 is new board member proposal. Jill?
Okay, here at the school, fast forward, we'd like to propose Hannah Zollinger as a parent board member.
I think I'll make, do we want a motion?
Yeah, I
I'll
think
make
that
a
would be
motion
great.
that we accept Janice Zollinger as a member of the Board of Trustees.
Is that
Well-
Hannah Zollinger?
Hannah.
Yeah. Hannah.
Hannah.
I'll second the motion to accept Hannah Zollinger as a board member.
Wonderful. Prior to taking a vote, why don't we have Hannah tell us just a little bit about herself and the connection she has with the school, and then we'll call for a vote.
I've been a parent here for 3 years. I've got 2 kids and 2 that I bring every day for school. My one daughter transferred out of Ridgeline here, and we have thoroughly loved the school. We have really enjoyed it, and they have made leaps and bounds, and they both have special education plans. So we've really appreciated the special education team and what they've been able to do for both of my girls.
Great.
So you've been associated with the school, did you say, for 3 years?
It's about 3 years now, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, that's it. If you can, if you're still willing to do this after being affiliated with any organization for 3 years, it says that there's already a mutual respect. So that goes both ways. I think that's
Absolutely.
wonderful. Do any of you have any questions of Hannah?
I don't.
All right. In that case, I'm calling for the vote. Those in favor of the motion to accept Hannah Zollinger as a new member of our board, say aye or signify in some other way what your wish is. Aye.
Aye.
I think I got an aye from everybody, so I think that's unanimous. I don't even need to call for an opposing vote. So, Hannah, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Forgot to tell you how much we pay.
Yeah, we got a raise double last year.
Like a lot of boards, it doesn't pay, but it does cost.
Right.
But we're delighted to have you. Thank you very much. Wonderful.
Teresa. Teresa, are you able to stay, or we could excuse you as well?
Okay, I'd like to ask to be excused.
All right.
Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Teresa, and drive safely.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Should we take care? Well, we can just go in order if we're not trying to meet Teresa's schedule. I was thinking if we were going to try and involve Teresa, we could move number 5 up while we still had her, but let's just go ahead and go in order now. So, item number 2, FY24 financial review. Ryan?
Yeah. Assuming everybody can hear me here, maybe we can, Alex, can you pull that up for us? Would that be possible to? Hannah, I will say why Alex is pulling this up. The one thing that you get to look forward to on this board is our terms aren't very long. So you can look at Rich and Lynn and
oh dear.
Well, I'd like to be on for as long as possible. I have really enjoyed it here a lot.
well, be careful what you ask for because we've got
Keep you on.
We forgot to tell Hannah that I was actually a student here when I started.
I know that's not true.
Rich has a burial plot and land somewhere on the property there at Fast Forward. We'll give them the options whether they actually want to be buried on the property, but they should know that they have one.
It's an option.
Going to our financial report, this is for our FY24, so last year, and the theme kind of carries over from where we left off from our last board meeting. We had a really solid year, and our revenues have gone up significantly, especially over the last couple of years. So our total revenues were about 5.4 million, which was over our budget of 5 million by about $413,000. A lot of it's just kind of going back to the same thing that we've always talked about. It's student headcount for us, and that's made a significant difference in our overall funding for the school and the way we're able to operate. And for FY24, as you read through our financial report, you'll notice that that's very much the case, as has been the last couple of years. So you'll notice also that our expenses have gone up, but our net income has increased significantly over prior years. And some of the members of our board that have been on for a while will tell you that we've had some lean years. We're a our charter school has been around for a long time. We're one of the oldest ones in the state. And so we're a very stable charter school, both academically, in my opinion, and it's fun to actually see it be very stable financially. And it's fun to give these reports because it actually the school is doing so well. So kind of with that, you can read through the first page there. I won't hit a lot of that. I kind of want to get to the nuts and bolts of the expenses here. Our total expenses for the year were $4.6 million. Consequently, our net income was about $764,000. And I call it net income just because it's old habits, but really what it is we're adding to our net assets by about 764,000 over our budget of 682. So we were over our budget there. Salaries have kind of gone up. We've over the last several years, we've really tried with this windfall that we've received. We've really tried to step up our spending on some of the programs to keep our staff around, and the board's aware of that. But for our new board members, we've really tried to bring up wages to be competitive with the other charters, not just the only charter schools, but also the districts is probably the main competition that we have. So we've really tried to increase our wages to be more competitive, and we've seen a big effect with that, with just retention of employees. So that's great. That's great. We've also done some fun, unique things. One of the policies I will say that we enacted this last year is that, actually for this year, I should say, is any employee that's been with Fast Forward for 15 years or more, we pay for all of their health insurance, which I wanted to make the board aware of that we did that, which was another big thing because we've had so many seasoned employees that have been with us for so many years, and they're some of our biggest assets. So we really try to not only bring up their salary, but try to treat them in the best manner that we possibly can. Why the school is functioning in the way that it is. The other big thing that is just to be aware of with charter schools too is not only where your labor costs are, and they've gone up as our student head count has increased, and it's about 50 to 60% of our expenses is in our labor, but also in our debt. And we're in a good position debt wise. we've owned our building for a significant period of time. We're on a fixed rate for until 2040. So, in all honesty, we could pay off our mortgage today and still have a significant amount of money left in the bank. So, uh, but we're sitting at a 4.15% interest rate for the next, 20 years. Um, so I don't see a huge need for that. Going down to balance sheet items, our current cash, as you can see there at the end of June, was about almost 3 million. At the end of May, it was again close. So we're building that as we can. And then payroll liabilities were about 81,000, which we just kind of turn those over monthly. That's payroll taxes and of course the bigger, well, just as equally as big as the state retirement. So going down to the next page is just some graphs that I would just show you. You can see our history of our cash over the last 6 months. And then you can also see kind of where our October 1 headcount has been. And you can see that starting in FY21, the year after COVID, and then we've just kind of built that number. And we're very stable at that, starting the October 1, about somewhere in the 450 range. And then I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong on this team, but I think we ended just a little over 500. We had a huge graduating class. For those of you that were at our graduation last year, you know that we had a lot of students to replace. It was a fun graduation, and it seemed like that line was never going to end. We had so many graduates. It was fun to see. That's the point of the school. So they're doing a great job. Okay. The next part of this, and of course, we can stop and we can talk about it at any point. Now, the rest of it's just the actual statements beneath it. So you can look at the balance sheet, the income statement, the profit and loss to actual. So these are the actual financials that we have audited for the year. And again, these financials are audited at this point. We've completed our audit. And I think that's one of the items that we're going to talk about today. So we can maybe talk about that in more detail when we get to that line item. But again, you can just see what we have for our actuals versus our budget going down. And then the last one is our allotment memo that we have. So is there any questions that anybody has? Lynn and I typically meet in our meeting today. I know he got held up a little bit today. He was busy doing a lot of things. But we typically meet prior to coming into this meeting, so we don't have to spend a lot of time here. We'd actually like just to put it on the agenda as maybe more of an affirmation type of an item instead of having to discuss a lot, because I feel like I don't want to necessarily monopolize, especially when I mean, if we have problems, we can definitely talk more about that. But I'd rather, man, I think the board member might agree with me that we'd rather talk about some other things that maybe are more pertinent to the school. So. Anyway, that's the financial report. Let me just kind of cap that off, this conversation off by saying FY24 was a very successful year for us. FY25 is looking to be very similar. So we'll keep you posted as we go on.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ryan. We always get good news from you. I mean, even when it's bad news, it's hopeful.
Well, I cross my fingers. I always, the great thing is that we have such a good team up there, and we always have been, even from the very beginning. And that, goes back to our board members and everybody. It just, everybody kind of sees it the same way, and everybody's willing to work. And it's easy for me to sit here and report numbers because, that's kind of what I do. But really, the work's being done there with Alex and Jill and the things that they're doing up there. I mean, it's incredible work what they're doing there. I can't overstate that. They're doing such a fantastic job. So it shows up in our financial statement, but the work's being done.
That's great. Yep. Well, do any of you have any questions of Ryan on the financial review?
I don't. I went over them pretty thoroughly when I received them last time. And I couldn't see anything I was going to bring up with Ryan at all. So everything looked great. So.
All right. Well, thank you. And Lynn, particularly, because I know how carefully you review these. So Ryan, let's move to the next item then, the FY24 audit update.
Yeah. So we've completed our audit. In fact, not in time for this meeting, but our audit has just actually been issued. So we will discuss that in our next board meeting coming up. But I will tell you that, it's just a reflection of what we had. We didn't have any findings that I can think of that were significant. So that's good. Auditors have come in and they just kind of go through all of our stuff like they do every year. We've had the same auditor for a long time and they know us very well. And we're obviously familiar with them. They do several different charter schools and almost every district in the state. And so they're very well, they're a great auditor. They know what they're doing. They know how schools function. They know what to look for. So we have a great relationship with our auditing group. So we will talk about that. I just wanted to let the board know that the audit is done. There weren't any major issues at all. So we will go ahead and discuss that in our next board meeting. But I just wanted to let you know that kind of the progress on that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Item number 4, we're moving right along. FY25 student headcount update.
Yeah, Jill and Alex, why don't you guys take that one and run with,
Yeah.
454.
Yeah, we're at 454 and we've got about 30 kids on our wait list. So
So that's even up 3 from your October
Yeah.
headcount.
Yeah, and we've actually probably brought in more just because I've withdrawn probably 3 or 4 kids who have moved or gone back to their home district, and so we're probably closer even to like 7 since that. So of actual new students, and so we're working with Kelly to get all those kids scheduled. We do a pretty thorough intake with all the new incoming students. They bring their transcripts so we can know exactly, basically from day 0, the plan for the kid who is coming credit deficient or struggling with attendance. We try really hard to just hit the ground running with every kid. And yeah, it doesn't, that wait list is just always there. Like even if we bring everyone in over the next like 3 days after everyone's in, we're just continually getting more and more. And so it's a great problem to have. So
Wonderful. Did you say 30 something on the
30.
wait list?
and currently reaching out to have all those scheduled to come in for term 3, which is in the middle of November. So
Yep.
because our big thing is Jill's big push is that she doesn't want kids to lose an opportunity or
Have to wait for help.
wait for help. So
It's a, to borrow a phrase from the past, no child left behind.
Yeah,
for better or worse, yes, that's a
Yeah.
good phrase.
That's
Mhm.
going
Good
back
phrase.
back to the day.
It carries a little baggage now,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, the sentiment is good.
One thing that I'll add to this, and Rich, you're familiar with East Hollywood because you were on the board there forever. Thanks for all your work there. But East Hollywood had struggled with their enrollment for a long time down there, and we could never get over like the 290 hump, or we were always kind of sub 300 with our students. But then we started talking about what Fast Forward was doing a couple years ago with Katrina, the principal down there. And she came up and met with Jill a couple times, and we kind of it's not 100% copy of what Fast Forward's doing, but it's very close. And we've seen our enrollment go up significantly this year. So I think that's really cool that this model that they've created in Logan at Fast Forward is, it's really, from what I see, it's a model that works, and kids, COVID changed things, as we all know, in a massive way. And something's good, maybe something's not so good, and we kind of deal with them on both ends. But it's fun to see the model we've kind of created at Fast Forward and how it's working. And kids like that flexibility. They do. And as long as we can meet the financial or the educational goals, I'm so glad with the way things are going at both of those schools with that particular schedule. So.
The only thing I'd add to that too, sorry, Rich, is it's not only students, but the families, like parents, like it opens up doors for kids to go and work or help families that maybe they wouldn't be able to. And so it's really benefiting the whole family, not just the students specifically, which is awesome.
That's wonderful. Well, I miss my associations at East Hollywood. I hope you'll give my regards to all of those.
We will. It doesn't feel the same without you, Rich. I know that at some point, everybody's gotta, but on a totally different note, we so appreciate your years of service down there. You're phenomenal. So thank you for that.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you. Well, item number 5, policy review.
Yeah, so I'll take this one. In training that we do every year, one of the things, there's always hot buttons that the State Office of Education has, and we're just trying to keep, well, not even one step ahead really sometimes, but just trying to catch up in some ways, trying to manage what we can. But one of the things is time and effort documentation that the school needs to track for different programs that we have, special ed probably being the biggest one. There's a lot of federal programs that require time and effort. So essentially what we've done is we do have a time and effort policy, but we want to make it cleaner and better based upon some new guidance that's come down from the state. And I think this incorporates that. So some of the big things is you can kind of see the scope of what the policy is and what we're trying to accomplish. The general guidelines is to basically maintain accurate records across various programs that we have to account for. Now, this is just the policy, but we do have a separate form that we've created, and probably the best one that we have is actually being currently managed in our special ed department by Kathy Anderson. And she's been really meticulous about filling out these time and effort certifications. We want her to keep doing that, of course, but some of these policies are just to make it a little bit easier for her to be able to do that. And some of those are, the two big one is basically the electronic records and signatures. So this is kind of the area that, in the approval process. So we want to make it so that you can still do the paper one. And if she, like I said, electronic time and effort certification forms are permitted for ease of submission and processing. So if you prefer to do electronic, which I know a lot of people do now, that is definitely permitted now. So those one of the things that we can do, and electronic signatures are sufficient too. The other thing that we need to do, we usually have not only do we have the employee sign it, but we also have the supervisor sign it. We still would like to continue to do that, but the employee doesn't have to sign it anymore. The employee, the only person that needs to sign it is the immediate supervisor. So in special ed's example would be Kathy, or because we're such a small school, of course, Jill knows everything that's going on there and who's serving in what. She could tell you that in a minute. So she could also sign the time and effort documentation, if that makes sense. And then if we can still get the employee, we'd like to have them sign it as well. So those are the main changes, and the reason that kind of we're revamping this is for those two items right there. And then the rest of it's just kind of, the audit and compliance, retention of records, non-compliance. So that's just kind of standard stuff that we've always had that we need to do. But the main two changes, of course, are number 3 and number 4, the electronic records and the approval process. So that we would like to present that to the board for approval and more discussion. If we want to sit on it and you guys want to think about it, I'm totally fine with that too, if you want to make changes. But I would encourage us to maybe kind of update in some form our time and effort policy so that it reflects some of these current things that we can do.
So tell me, Ryan, what has this is in response to change in expectations by the State Board of Education, is that correct?
Yeah, there's always been the expectation that you have to have time and effort, especially with like Title I things, with special education, we have to have it. So there's always been that, and of course we've always done it. This is just to kind of lay out the policy and make it a little more clear, and then also to just make the changes that we can do it electronically. So we can send a DocuSign out to somebody that has the time and effort with their allocation on it, and they can just do a simple DocuSign without having to get chase paper down and have people sign just in the traditional way. And then the approval process is sometimes as time and effort reads, it has to be done after the fact, right? Now, some schools say like, was that 1 year, 2 years? I mean, so I've had this happen to me, and forgive me for my past sins, but sometimes the employee is gone, and I'm like, I need a time and effort signature done, right? And we all know that they worked in that, but it's hard to actually find the employee to have them sign it. So part of it is, and again, we'd like to do this in a timely manner, but the immediate supervisor that was aware of the work that was being done, or the school principal, can vouch and say that program was actually, they were actually working in that program. So we'd love to have the employee sign it. That's probably best practice. But we can either have the immediate supervisor or the school principal sign it as well.
And it really, there are no substantial implications for employees, I don't think, because all this is doing is documenting the source of support for each employee allocated across their various activities.
Right. And what we try to do, if we can, just for time, and what the state actually recommends is, if you can have people, where it gets complicated is where people start working at different functions. So let's say someone works 20 or 30% of their time is sped, and then 20 somewhere else. We don't have a lot of this, but occasionally it comes up. So that makes it a little more challenging. So they would like to see actually full-time people be allocated to these different programs just for ease. Now, we understand for us that might be more feasible because we're a smaller school and we can do that. But if you get in some of these districts, a little harder to do that because people work in so many different programs. But for us, and again, this isn't in the policy, but what I would like to see is most people work 100% of time in that particular program.
Which for the most part, I don't think we have anybody that doesn't.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Yeah.
So this is pretty straightforward. I know we used to do this at the university all the time, but we were all on so many different projects that it became a little bit more of a delicate operation.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it would
right.
shift sometimes month by month, occasionally even more frequently than that. I don't imagine that happens too much here. So
No, it doesn't. And we review our payroll quite frequently, actually. Maybe every 3 to 4 months, we'll go through it and just make sure that the people that we're allocating to special ed are actually working there. So we'll talk to both Jill and Kathy, and just a quick, we can do that in a 10-minute conversation, just as we read off the names, and just, make sure that everybody is working in that. I can see, Rich, in your analogy, especially in a university where you would have a lot of different areas that you would work in that would be supported by different grants. We don't have that here at Fast Forward. So as Jill was saying, it's common for us to have most people just work 100% in one program.
good.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see any problem. Do any of the rest of you have questions or concerns?
I don't.
No.
Well, then this requires action, so I will entertain a motion to accept this policy as amended, I suppose is the way to say it. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I will make a motion that we accept this policy. I guess you'd call it the
Time and effort. Time and effort.
time and effort policy. So
Yeah.
A second?
Yes.
I think Hannah has just seconded this motion.
she did. It's so nice to have you here, Hannah.
It is. It's wonderful.
It really is.
Well, moved and seconded. Those in favor of accepting the amended time and effort policy, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. And maybe I ought to just ask, because Lynn isn't here, even though I heard your voice, I'll
Yeah,
ask for opposing votes if there are any, just to confirm. So opposing votes, if any? Hearing none. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Well, principals report.
Okay. Got some exciting things happening at the school. If you've been driving by it all, we've got 3 portables coming together on the west side of the building. So our teachers we've got a few teachers that have been floating and sharing classrooms for quite a few years now will get their own room. And that's exciting, hoping to have that done by the holiday break in December.
oh, great.
Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful addition to our
Yeah.
school.
I was by there and I thought it looked great.
Yeah,
That
they're
was
really
awesome.
rolling along. So that I'm happy to report that's getting close. We've got a big Halloween party coming up tomorrow night. Yeah, and we're lucky enough. Hannah helps a lot with our kind of after school stuff that goes on and is a great part of our team here. So yeah, we've got a big Halloween party tomorrow night for the kids. We just had parent teacher conferences last night. What else? What else do we have going? We had our comp guidance state review yesterday, and we have brand new counselors at the school. Except for one. Martha was here last year, but our review went great. We have a couple goals to work on, which we anticipated we would. But it went great. Our team did excellent. I was very happy with how things went, and we have 2 things we need to work on, and we can wrap those up in like a day. So we'll have everything ready for the state and done next week, hopefully. So our team did a great job. So we've got a special ed visit from the state next week, 2 weeks. Yeah, on November 4th. That should go great. We'll report back that for the December board meeting. That's kind of all I've got to report on right now. But we just finished up our food drive. Our winning class gets breakfast at Angie's. So we had over 600 items, I think, donated, 600 canned items. So it was pretty successful. We did it a little bit earlier this year, so that our sub for Santa could get a little more participation. And yeah, we just wrapped that canned food drive up, and kids will go to breakfast next week, and it was a good time. So that's kind of some updates here at the school.
What day did they go to breakfast?
They're going on the 1st. If you want me to save you a seat. Angie's. So they're pretty excited.
Let me see.
Great.
Anyway, that's my report for the day.
Oh, it's usually a Friday morning is
Kind of quiet.
good for me. That one, not so much.
Not so much. Friday at 9, no go.
If I can squeeze it in, I'll surprise you.
Please do. I'll save
I
you a
mean,
seat.
A breakfast at Angie's is not to be missed.
I agree. Kids do love it. They get really excited. They said, if that's not the prize we win, we're taking our cans home. So there was a little bit of pressure to make sure it happened, but
I
anyway.
think that's great.
Yep. So that's it.
All right, wonderful. Well, anything else? Lynn, do you have anything
No.
else you'd like to say? Other
No.
than
Just
that
that I
you miss being here?
apologize. I'm sorry for holding up. I should be out there, and I won't let it happen again. I will be there at the meeting.
We'll let it slide.
You
No worries, Lynn.
You know,
you do great. Thanks for all
you
your work.
shame the rest of us
I
because
think it's because I'm getting older, you know? I mean,
No.
that's not happening.
No.
That's not happening.
okay,
Well, thank you, Lynn.
you bet.
Thank you, Ryan,
Thanks,
Thank you
Ryan.
all. Thank
Thanks,
you
Lynn.
all.
Okay,
Alex, and Jill. Great, and Hannah, welcome to
Thank
the
you.
board.
Yes.
Every meeting we have is this length. We never have a long meeting.
Okay.
Except for on those occasions when we do.
That's a nice way to get out of it.
We are delighted to have you. And let me just say, like I oftentimes do, what an honor and privilege it is to be affiliated with this school. So thank you. You do nothing but enhance our reputation. So thank you very much.
Let's hope we
Thank
can always
you.
keep it that way.
Great.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks.
We're
Okay.